You wake up tomorrow morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, your mind will already be somewhere else, remembering. It might replay an awkward conversation from years ago, or it might remind you of an assignment, a bill, or a message you forgot to answer. It might even invent a problem that hasn't even happened yet. It feels so ordinary that you probably won't question it. But the real answer is far stranger, and it's one that will challenge your entire perspective. Your brain isn't broken, it isn't weak, and it certainly isn't failing. The reason you struggle to truly relax may be one of the greatest evolutionary advantages your species has ever developed, because for almost your entire existence as a human being, relaxing at the wrong moment could get you killed. Look around your room. The walls protect you from the weather, the roof keeps out the rain, the doors lock, and the lights erase the darkness with the flick of a switch. If something goes wrong, you can call someone from a device in your pocket. Safety surrounds you so completely that you barely notice it anymore. Your ancestors, however, had none of that. 200,000 years ago, when the sun disappeared below the horizon, the world changed completely. Darkness wasn't peaceful, it was uncertainty. Every sound became louder, every shadow became suspicious, and every movement in the tall grass forced a question. Was it just the wind, or was something watching? That single question determined who survived. The people who ignored strange sounds too often eventually disappeared from the gene pool, but the people who paid attention, even when nothing dangerous was actually there, were more likely to live long enough to have children. Generation after generation, evolution quietly rewarded one particular kind of brain, not the happiest brain, not the calmest brain, but the brain that constantly asked, what could go wrong next? And that ancient question still lives inside your head today. Only now, instead of wondering whether a predator is hiding behind a bush, your brain wonders whether your boss is upset, whether your friends secretly dislike you, whether you'll pass an exam, whether you'll have enough money next month, or whether that pain in your shoulder means something terrible. The objects changed. The survival system didn't. That's because evolution doesn't redesign the brain every few centuries. It moves, painfully slowly. Anthropologists estimate that anatomically modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years, and agriculture appeared only about 12,000 years ago. Cities are younger, and the Industrial Revolution is only a few hundred years old. Smartphones have existed for little more than a decade. From the perspective of evolution, modern civilization happened so recently that your brain barely had time to notice. Deep inside your skull is a machine built for a world that no longer exists, and yet, every single day, it behaves exactly as it was designed to. Imagine standing on an open African savanna at sunset. The air is getting colder, and the light is fading. Your group has managed to build a small fire, but beyond its glow stretches a darkness filled with unknown sounds. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. Will the nearby rivers still have water? Will the herd return? Will another tribe arrive first? Or will a predator find your camp before sunrise? Nobody knows, and that's exactly the problem. Most animals solve problems only after they appear. A zebra notices a lion. It runs. A bird hears a hawk. It flies away. The danger is immediate, and once it passes, the animal returns to eating, sleeping, or grooming as if nothing happened. Humans evolved something completely different. Instead of reacting only to the present, your ancestors became remarkably good at simulating the future. Long before tomorrow arrived, they could already imagine it, and that ability changed everything. A hunter could picture, in his mind's eye, where animals might migrate after the rainy season. A parent could store extra food before winter arrived, and this simple act of preparation was, truly, a testament to human foresight. A small group could avoid a valley simply because someone remembered hearing strange sounds there months earlier, and that memory could be the difference between life and death. For the first time, a species wasn't just surviving the present, it was preparing for possibilities, and that single ability transformed humans from just another primate into the planet's dominant species. But every extraordinary advantage comes with an equally extraordinary cost, and this is, perhaps, the greatest paradox of human evolution. The same imagination that lets you plan tomorrow also lets you fear tomorrow, and the same brain that can invent medicine can invent disasters that haven't happened. So the line between progress and peril is, often, blurred. The same mind capable of building civilizations can also trap itself replaying an embarrassing conversation from years ago, and this capacity for self-reflection can be, at once, a blessing and a curse. Your greatest evolutionary gift became impossible to switch off, and this is, in many ways, the human condition. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman spent decades studying how humans make decisions, and one of his most famous discoveries was, surprisingly simple, yet profoundly insightful. Losing something hurts more than gaining the exact same thing feels good. Finding $100 feels nice, but losing $100 feels awful, and the emotional weight isn't equal. Your brain naturally gives more attention to possible threats than possible rewards, and this is because evolution wasn't trying to make your ancestors happy, it was trying to keep them alive. Missing one opportunity to find berries wasn't ideal, but missing one predator hiding in the bushes could end an entire bloodline. So natural selection favored minds that assumed danger first and celebrated later. Over hundreds of thousands of years, that strategy slowly became the default operating system of the human brain, and you inherited that operating system, whether you wanted it or not. Your brain is doing something extraordinary right now. Even as you listen to these words, it isn't simply receiving information, it's making predictions, and this process is, truly, a marvel of human cognition. Before you finish reading a sentence, your brain has already guessed how it will end. Before someone finishes speaking, your mind quietly predicts their next word. When you reach for a cup, your brain calculates its weight before your fingers even touch it. Prediction isn't a bonus feature of the human brain. It's one of its primary jobs. Neuroscientist Karl Friston proposed one of the most influential theories in modern neuroscience, known as the free energy principle. The name sounds complicated, but the central idea is truly, surprisingly simple. Your brain is constantly trying to reduce surprise, and every second, it builds an internal model of reality, compares that model with what actually happens, and updates itself whenever something doesn't match. Think of your brain as the world's most sophisticated prediction engine. It isn't waiting for life to happen, it's constantly asking, what's most likely to happen next? Most of the time, this process is invisible, but without it, catching a ball would be nearly impossible, driving would feel overwhelming, and even walking through a crowded room would require conscious effort. Prediction makes life efficient, but prediction has a darker side. If your brain's job is to prepare for the future, then it also has to imagine futures that never arrive. That's why you rehearse conversations in the shower. It's why you suddenly remember a mistake from high school while trying to fall asleep. It's why your mind creates arguments that never happen, disasters that never occur, and embarrassing scenarios that exist only inside your imagination. From your brain's perspective, every imagined future is simply another simulation, another chance to prepare, another opportunity to survive. The problem is that your body often reacts before reality has a chance to disagree. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tense, your breathing changes. Not because anything dangerous is happening, but because your prediction engine temporarily believes it could. To your ancient nervous system, an imagined threat is often close enough to a real one to deserve attention. That's the price of possessing an imagination powerful enough to reshape the world. The same ability that let your ancestors invent tools, language, and eventually civilization also made it impossible to completely escape the future inside their own minds and inside yours. This ability didn't just help humans survive, it changed the entire direction of life on Earth. No other animal has transformed the planet the way you have. Beavers build dams, birds build nests, and ants construct enormous colonies. But generation after generation, they build almost exactly the same structures their ancestors built thousands of years ago. Humans are different, for your ancestors imagined things that had never existed before: a sharper spear, a stronger shelter, a better way to cross a river. Someone else improved those ideas, then another generation improved them again. Knowledge didn't disappear when one person died, it accumulated. Anthropologist Joseph Henrich argues that humans became successful not because any single individual was exceptionally intelligent, but because entire communities learned to share and preserve knowledge across generations. This is known as cumulative culture. Each generation inherited thousands of years of solutions instead of starting from nothing, and that simple difference changed everything. Small improvements became massive civilizations, stone tools became satellites, campfires became power grids, and ancient stories became libraries and eventually the internet. All because the human brain could imagine a future that didn't exist yet. But here's the hidden cost. A brain capable of imagining a better future is also capable of imagining a worse one. The same imagination that invents vaccines can invent worst-case scenarios. The same creativity that writes music can write fear. Your mind doesn't have separate systems for hope and anxiety. They are, in fact, intertwined. They are built from the same machinery, and both begin with one simple question: what if? What if this works? What if this fails? What if I succeed? What if I embarrass myself? What if everything changes? Those questions are inseparable, and they have been a part of human existence for centuries. Without the ability to imagine failure, your ancestors would never have prepared for danger. Without the ability to imagine success, they would never have explored beyond the next hill. Human civilization exists because your species became obsessed with possibilities, some beautiful, some terrifying. And every day, your brain continues asking those same ancient questions, even though the world around you has become almost unrecognizable. If your brain evolved for a world of predators, unpredictable weather, and scarce food, then modern life presents it with a problem it was never designed to solve. For almost all of human history, your ancestors only had to worry about what was nearby. Their world was small. If nothing threatened the camp tonight, their nervous system eventually settled. There simply wasn't much else to think about. Today, before you've even finished breakfast, you can learn about a wildfire on another continent, a stock market crash across the ocean, an argument between strangers online, a new disease, a celebrity scandal, and dozens of emails waiting for your attention. Your body stays in one room, but your mind travels the entire planet. The human brain never evolved to monitor 8 billion people at once. Yet every day, that's exactly what it tries to do. This is what evolutionary biologists call a mismatch, a trait that once improved survival now exists in an environment completely different from the one it evolved for. Your craving for sugar, for example, once protected you from starvation. Now it tempts you with unlimited processed food. Your desire for social approval once kept you connected to your tribe, and it was, truly, a vital part of your existence. Now, however, it can trap you in an endless cycle of likes, comments, and comparisons, a never-ending quest for validation. Your attention to danger once helped you survive predators, a crucial instinct that kept you safe. Now, it can keep you awake because of an email you'll answer tomorrow, a constant sense of unease. The software isn't broken, but the operating environment has changed, and that's why one notification can instantly steal your focus. Why an unfinished task keeps drifting back into your thoughts and refuses to let go. Why your brain seems determined to solve problems even when you're lying safely in bed. It's still doing exactly what it evolved to do. Searching, predicting, preparing. It's still doing its job, but the context has shifted, and the more information modern life gives you, the more possibilities your brain has to simulate into an ancient survival machine. Every possibility deserves a second look. The evidence for this appears in one of the most surprising discoveries in modern neuroscience. You might assume your brain becomes quiet when you're doing nothing. It doesn't. In fact, when you're sitting alone, staring out of a window, lying awake in bed, or taking a shower, an entire network inside your brain becomes remarkably active. Scientists call it the default mode network. Discovered through brain imaging studies by researchers, including Raichle, this network switches on when your attention is no longer focused on the outside world, but instead of resting, it turns inward. It replays memories, imagines conversations, predicts the future, and wonders what other people think about you. It connects pieces of your life into one continuous story. Your brain doesn't treat doing nothing as doing nothing at all. It treats it as an opportunity to think. And this also helps explain why your best ideas often appear while walking, showering, or lying in bed. The same imagination that creates anxiety is also responsible for creativity. It's where inventions begin, and it's where novels are written, a double-edged sword, capable of bringing both turmoil and triumph. It's where scientific discoveries are born. Albert Einstein imagined riding alongside a beam of light, years before experiments could test his ideas. Countless engineers mentally built machines, long before they existed in the real world. The human ability to simulate imaginary worlds changed history. But that same ability has a downside. Research by psychologist Matthew Killingsworth and philosopher Daniel Gilbert found that people's minds wander nearly half the time they are awake. More importantly, they discovered that a wandering mind is often a less happy mind. Not because thinking is bad, but because wandering thoughts frequently drift toward worries, regrets, and hypothetical futures. Your imagination is a double-edged sword. It can design a bridge or convince you that tomorrow will fall apart. The same ancient engine powers both, and it has been running inside every human mind for thousands of generations. So, are humans really the only animals that can't relax? Not exactly. Many animals experience stress. They become alert when predators appear. They defend their young. They compete for territory. But very few species appear capable of carrying tomorrow's problems into today with the same depth that humans can. Your brain doesn't simply experience the present. It stretches across time. It revisits the past. It rehearses the future. It tells stories about who you are and who you might become. That extraordinary ability built every city, every scientific discovery, every work of art, and every piece of technology surrounding you. It also made perfect peace almost impossible. Perhaps that isn't a flaw. Perhaps it's the price of becoming human. The next time your mind begins racing, before you've even climbed out of bed, remember what is actually happening. Inside your skull is a survival machine, shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. It isn't trying to make you anxious. It isn't trying to ruin your day. It's trying to prepare you for a world that no longer exists. The predators have become deadlines. and the storms have become notifications. The tribe has become social media, and the sense of community that comes with it. The dangers are different, but the brain responding to them is, truly, astonishingly ancient. Understanding that won't silence every anxious thought. It won't stop your imagination from wandering, remembering all the what-ifs and maybes. But it changes the way you see those thoughts, and that, in itself, is a powerful thing. Instead of asking, "Why can't I relax?" you begin asking a different question. What ancient problem is my brain trying to solve? A question that can lead to unexpected insights. Sometimes, the answer will be useful, and sometimes, it will simply be an echo from a distant past, a reminder of how far we've come, and yet, how little we've changed. And recognizing the difference may be one of the most important skills a modern human can learn. Tomorrow morning, before your feet even touch the floor, your mind will probably race ahead once again, and you'll feel the familiar rush of anxiety. Only this time, you'll know why, because deep inside your remarkably modern life lives an astonishingly ancient brain, still listening for footsteps in the dark, still waiting for the other shoe to drop, still trying to make sense of it all.